air. Gold bells shining, they all dare. Tougher, fists held high. Warriors fight till the night says die. FWE where battles divine. Every broken bone all by design. Chained to the thrill, they let it be. This ain't a game, it's FWE. FWE where battles define. Every broken bone all by design. Chained to the thrill, they let it be. This ain't a game, it's FWE.
They are the faction known as the Family.
They do what they want, when they want, to whoever they want.
I don't know if there's anybody that can stop this dominable group.
They have made their goal clear to take over FWE.
Anthony McCurry just pinned the world champion.
Michael, tonight you will put the Intercontinental Championship on the line against his opponent.
Michael Norman is still the Intercontinental Champion.
Matt, I'm going to need you to allow the reinstatement of earning the Keebler Elk, in which next week you will take him on in a Hell in a
Matt
Cell.
McIntyre is now 3-0 in this storied rivalry.
And finally, all four of you must agree at the upcoming PLE FWE Infinity War Games to take on a team of my choosing in a 4-on-4 War Games main event match.
Two factions are about to enter one of the most unforgiving structures in all of professional wrestling. Two rings, side by side, locked inside the steel cage. No countouts, no DQ, no mercy.
2 teams, 8 men, fighting for company supremacy inside
Of War Games.
Battle lines have been drawn, and tonight we go to war. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to FWE Infinity War Games. I'm Seth Cole, alongside of the current Wayfinder Cruiser Champion Jack Mitchell, former 2-time Disney Men's Tag Team Champion RJ Bishop. Gentlemen, tonight it comes to a head. The faction known as the Family and the team of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, chosen by the Commissioner, our main event. Several titles on the line here tonight as well.
I got 2 words for you guys. Let's go. I'm so hyped for this PLE. We got so many championship implications on the line tonight. 5, I believe, titles currently on the line, and in 2 matches, there are not titles on the line, but #1 contender spots can be earned. I'm so excited to get this thing underway.
And how about this? Earlier on this week, the women's champion Elizabeth Swann threw out an open challenge. And Jack, you talked about this in the Go Home show last week, how it didn't look like any Marvel characters in a Marvel-oriented PLE were going to be making an appearance here tonight. How about a debut? The new Black Panther Shuri going to challenge for the women's championship here this evening in the opener. What a debut it would be if Shuri is able to win the Women's Championship, of course, from the woman that was the former Money in the Bank briefcase holder, Elizabeth Swann, cashing in Money in the Bank at our last PLE at Sugar Rush against then-champion Wonder Woman, who had then defeated the then-champion Cruella DeVille. So a little flip-flop of titles there, but first title defense here, at least for a new challenger for the champion Elizabeth Swann.
It'd be really fun to see multiple title changes happening in back-to-back PLEs. We'll find out, though.
Of course, both you and RJ pulling double duty here tonight, joining on commentary, but you guys are both in action here this evening as well. Jack, you're putting that Cruiser Championship on the line against the former champion Cusco, getting his title rematch, and we had RJ issue the challenge last week to Kronk, one half of the Men's Disney Tag Team Champions. If RJ wins the matchup here tonight, he and Nick Gunther, Vicious and Delicious, they get another shot at the tag team titles. And we understand that if indeed RJ is successful here tonight. That title match will take place next week.
Definitely a whole lot to look forward to in this.
We mentioned numerous titles on the line here tonight. Dylan Young, the Tri-Wizard champion, found out who he would defend the title against last week. King Candy, the new #1 contender. First time he's ever gotten into a singles title scenario. Got the Women's Tag Team Championships on the line here tonight. Triple threat, tornado-style tag team matchup. Former champions Kim Possible and Shigo. The current champions out of Mystery Incorporated, Daphne Blake and Velma Dinkley. And of course, added into that, they ended up getting the final spot. Team Let It Go, Anna and Elsa, who are yet to hold championship gold here in FWE. And also we understand that the women's hardcore title is going to be on the line here tonight as well. A fatal 5-way hardcore title matchup. But getting ready here for the first of the title belts on the line, the Women's World Championship of the Galaxy.
And her opponent from Kingston, Jamaica, the Women's Universal Champion, Elizabeth Turner.
Of course, in most of our title matchups here tonight, there will be champion's advantage. Title cannot change hands on a countout or a disqualification. And with the ringing of the bell, FWE Infinity War Games is officially underway.
Here we go. Elizabeth Swan taking on Shuri, Women's World Champion of the Galaxy, on the line here in our first match.
Drops the leg right across the back of the neck. Does Elizabeth looking to put this one away early?
Too
and
early.
A kick out by Shuri. Might just be to maybe kind of get in the head of your opponent. You get that early cover, put some doubt in the mind of, well, I'm on the back foot here now. I got to be a little bit more defensive rather than offensive. And of course as well, Elizabeth Swan very experienced here in FWE. Shuri making her debut, so in an essence, a rookie here tonight.
Wouldn't that be something, though, if Shuri were to win the title on her first match? Debut matchup, you immediately answer an open challenge for title. What a move!
Clear the deck! I think Shuri went to the outside for a little breather, and the champion said, nuh-uh.
And a big forearm to knock Shuri down. Elizabeth, though, has to keep in mind. Might try to prolong this ringside activity here. There's a big knee to the face. Because again, like we mentioned, champion's advantage. Title cannot change hands via countout, and it looks like both of them are quickly trying to get back inside the ring here.
Drop kick right against the ropes. Of course, Shuri, the younger sister of the original Black Panther. Rest in peace. But, obviously, all the characteristics of a Panther, the athleticness, the quickness, but Elizabeth Swan able to match her here with the standing moonsault and almost retained the title right there. Shuri barely got the shoulder up.
There could have been another pin attempt somewhere there too, because we noticed that there was a rope break as well. So somebody maybe had a cover and it was quickly broken up by the rope.
Top rope, Hurricane Rana by Elizabeth Swan. Shuri having a little bit of trouble getting out of the gate here. Champ's firmly in control. Now Shuri working on the arm there, might be trying to take away the opportunity for Elizabeth Swan to hit Pirate's Plunder. Oh, Rampage! That could be it. We could have a new champ. And sure,
oh man. We were right there. Shuri's fired up, though. You can tell she feels like she definitely has the advantage in this now as she shoves her opponent back ringside. Springboard, Hurricane Rana.
from the top rope, and that was out to the floor, so extra 3 feet there on the descent.
And a DDT. Shuri definitely on the offensive now in this matchup.
Referee Ernest Wright beginning that 10 count. Shuri's got to be more aware of that really than Elizabeth does. Elizabeth can retain the title on a count out. Shuri cannot win it via count out. As now she'll deposit Elizabeth back inside of the ring. Wow, look at the height on that springboard moonsault. And the champ's in trouble.
The reversal, though. Elizabeth not willing to go down without a fight here.
Oh, and now Elizabeth, what might she be thinking here? Knee, back fist, Pele kicked! The peg leg kick! Lights out for Shuri, that could be it. Referee checks to make sure nothing's under the rope. And Elizabeth Swan's going to retain.
What a matchup.
Maybe just one mistake there by Shuri, left the door open and the champ took advantage.
Props to Shuri, though. She put up a great fight in her debut, but it's going to take a lot more than that to bring down the champ.
Hard-fought battle here tonight for Elizabeth Swan, but she will still leave as the Women's World Champion of the Galaxy. Is that a sign of things to come for the other champions? Is up next. #1 contenders match for the United States Championship match. It's a monsters brawl. You talk about height, you talk about muscles. We're going to have it. Backstage brawl. Last person standing will be facing Gaston next week for the United States Championship as Infinity War Games rolls on. We welcome you back to Infinity War Games, and yep, no bell, no introductions, it's just an all-out brawl here, monsters brawl to determine the #1 contender for the United States Championship.
I'm just going to call a spade here, Seth. This is not a wrestling match, this is a fight. This is going to be an absolute fight to the death, basically, or at least close to it. We're going to go until 3 guys are knocked out, 1 guy's left standing, and whoever wins gets a shot at the United States Championship. No rules, nothing fancy like that. We're just going to go until 3 people are down and unable to get back up.
As you alluded to, elimination style via pinfall or submission. Last man standing becomes the #1 contender. And I mean, look at all the stuff back here that can be utilized as a weapon. We've already seen those steel guardrails come into play. One of them's actually laying down there on the floor. I mean, anything that you run into here is going to hurt. There's no soft landing here. I mean, even to the steel grating of the floor that the Easter Bunny just got delivered to.
Easter Bunny needs to be very careful. There's a spotlight position, I think, right down there as well. So if you take a tumble off the right side of that catwalk, you're going straight through that glass.
Paul Bunyan squaring off there against Hercules. Thanos up top there with the Easter Bunny. Again, one of these 4 men's going to be the #1 contender, and no matter what way you slice it, it's going to be a monster task for Gaston with the United States Championship on the line next week. I think that probably he wouldn't want to face off against any of these people, but he's not going to have much of a choice.
There's just so much height, so much power, so much brute strength among these 4. I mean, pick your poison, honestly. There's a pin attempt and a kick out by Thanos at 1.
Yeah, Easter Bunny trying to eliminate the Titan as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, there's stuff going down as well on the bottom floor there to our left with Hercules and Paul Bunyan, but our cameraman's not panning out for us to be able to see that. We're more focused on what's taking place up here on the catwalk. So we'll have to kind of keep our ears open if a referee starts counting a pinfall that we don't see, because that would obviously mean that something's going on there in that Hercules-Bunyan exchange. Oh, gosh! Well, he missed the spotlight, but the landing wasn't much better. He might have landed on the power box portion of that spotlight.
I'm not too sure what happened. That was such a fast fall. Oh, but he gets up and he retaliates.
He's back on his feet.
I can speak from experience. That's the power of the Mad Titan.
Gosh. And Now delivering the knee of the Easter Bunny to the concrete. Normally, if we were inside the ring, that would be to the canvas with wooden boards underneath, which certainly still hurts, but I don't think it's quite as bad as hardened concrete. As now our cameraman's going to pan out. That battle is still going on up there with Paul Bunyan and Hercules, and here's a cover. Paul Bunyan trying to eliminate Hercules here from this #1 contenders match.
Look at the Easter Bunny. He's already right back up on his feet, telling Thanos, come at me. I'm not done with you yet.
Gracious. The one thing that I would have a question about here, while we're hyping up whoever ends up winning this matchup is obviously being a monster task for Gaston next week. There's no way with what we're seeing here that they're going to be at 100%, so they might be ripe for the pickings for the United States champion. As a cover here after a power bomb, Thanos looking to eliminate the giant Paul Bunyan, and he will. So just like that, we're down to a triple threat.
Can't exactly comment too much on Paul Bunyan here because I never really saw him that much during this matchup. Camera guys were focused on this fight right here. Easter Bunny and Thanos still focused on each other. Or at least the Easter Bunny is still focused on Thanos. Thanos took the fight to a different part of the backstage area.
And you saw right there as well, in 2 weeks' time, July 10th, for an entire night, we're running a mixed match challenge tournament, the Fairly Odd Partners tournament. One team comprised of a man and a woman will be the power couple, I guess we'll call them here, of FWE, as stunner roll up here by the Easter Bunny to eliminate Thanos, who's going to kick out at 1. But that's going to be a lot of fun to watch that tournament go down. Some unique duos being put together, and only one team will reign supreme at the end of the evening, as Stunner, cover by the Easter Bunny, trying to still eliminate Thanos, and again another kick out at 1.
Easter Bunny hasn't been focusing on anyone else, but now he might have to turn his attention to Hercules here. As Hercules with a big headbutt right in the corner of that concrete wall.
Interesting point of note. Obviously, Paul Bunyan is out of this already, but all 4 of these individuals coming into this match have yet to be in a singles title matchup, and this is going to be a first time. What unholy alliance is that? Hercules and Thanos. What, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, I guess, right there.
I guess for the time being, right there, yeah. It's just the circumstances of the matchup. Sometimes you might have to make a temporary alliance or two. As down goes the Easter Bunny with a power bomb.
Thanos looking to eliminate his second person in this matchup, and he will. We are down to 2, so the alliance is definitely gone now between these 2. One of these 2 men is going to face off against Gaston for the United States Championship next week. Thanos, oh, by the way, fell about 9 stories from the catwalk to the floor below, and he is still in the hunt for this thing. As a shot to the gut, violent shot, took Thanos right out of his feet.
Thanos has had all kinds of things thrown at him, though, before, so I can't imagine it's going to be that easy to put him away.
Sidewalk slam, almost down on the head of the Easter Bunny. And you just get the sense it's going to take maybe one big move. Huge headbutt there by Thanos. I think the only person that wouldn't have affected was Captain Marvel, as established in Endgame. Big clothesline by Thanos. This could be it. Thanos could be challenging for the United States Championship. No! Kick out at 1.
I think he might have taken a little too long to go into the cover there, but now he's lining something up.
Might be looking for yet another last ride powerbomb. He put Paul Bunyan and the Easter Bunny away with this already. That could be it. Thanos to get the sweep and eliminate 3. A kick out at
1. That was a powerbomb into the steel or the concrete floor. And Hercules kicked out at 1.
Now the bear hug submission. Is Hercules gonna tap out? Trying to fight out of this predicament. Big shot there from Hercules, big right hand.
Hercules is still very much in this.
And DDT right down on the concrete.
Now he's lining something up.
Oh, he might be going for a powerbomb of his own. Anything you can do, I can do better. Hercules to be the #1 contender. Is Thanos gonna kick out? No, Hercules is gonna be the new challenger for the US title against Gaston. What a battle backstage, and up next it's gonna be chaos. It's the triple threat tornado tag team matchup. Mystery Incorporated defending against Kim Possible Shigo and Team Let It Go. It's next on Infinity War Games. We welcome you back here to FWE Infinity War Games, getting ready for some women's tag team action. And Jack, it's interesting here because Go Home show last week, we ended up having one representative of each one of these three teams in a triple threat match, and the newbie team, if you will, the team that is yet to hold championship gold, came out on top with Elsa winning for Team Let It Go. Does that make them in any way the favorites coming into this matchup, or does it just give them a little bit of momentum, maybe a little bit of bragging rights?
I mean, it's maybe a little bit of both here, but it really just depends on how the people who participated in that triple threat are feeling. That matchup, there was nothing on the line, no real implications on this match other than just bragging rights, I guess, for the time being, or maybe to win a bit of mental warfare, I guess, too. You could say that you got in the head of your other competitors if you won that matchup right before a title match, so we'll see if that has any implications though going forward.
Here is the aforementioned Team Let It Go, Elsa and Anna. Now it's going to be interesting to note that these two have never been in a tornado-style tag team matchup. They were obviously with Elsa in that triple threat, and they did take part in what was a Extreme Rules Eliminator style matchup, which was basically you eliminate every opponent until you're down to either both or one of a team remaining, and that team ends up winning the championship. That's how Mystery Incorporated are coming into this PLE as the tag team champions. But here in this one now, it's only one pinfall to a finish, so the strategy is a little bit different.
Here come the current Women's Disney Tag Team Champions, Mystery Incorporated.
Daphne and Velma, first time that they've held championship gold here in FWE, looking to defend it. They were two of the last three, I should say, participants standing in the Eliminator tag team matchup that I just referred to, where they won those tag team title belts. Daphne was the next to last eliminated, then Velma followed up, got the final elimination for them to be the champs coming into this matchup. But in that matchup, everybody was more than willing to allow eliminations to occur, pinfalls to be able to occur. In this one, you got to have your head on a swivel, because if your teammate is pinned, or if another member of another team is pinned, you've got to break that up to keep your title hopes alive.
Absolutely. Everybody going to be rushing to break up those pin attempts or those submissions, so keep that in mind. Tornado tag team rules here, too. Everybody's legal. No tagging, no nothing. It's going to be all-out chaos.
Referee Ernest Wright will have at least a little bit of an easy job, and the fact that the pinfall and submission has to take place inside of the ring, but there's going to be a mass of humanity he'd have to get through maybe to find out if the shoulders are down or if the submission has been adhered to. As big boot there by Anna. We've already got a bunch of women down there. Velma was down, Kim Possible was down. Shigo going to be the first one to administer a weapon, brings a kendo stick into the ring.
That was Anna with the kendo stick. Elsa, sorry. She tried to bring that in and use it on Shigo, but Shigo got the reversal in time. That kendo stick was never used, but it's laying there in the middle of the ring. Have to keep an eye on that.
Big roundhouse kick I saw right there from Anna to Kim Possible. Basically, the strategy in this type of a matchup is to try and wear your opponents down enough that they're outside of the ring and you can make it a 2v1 inside of the ring, make your job a little bit easier. Or if you have confidence in your teammate, maybe you go outside, take care of business outside of the ring and let your teammate take care of stuff inside of the ring. As here we go, right out of the gate, Anna trying to take advantage of everybody else being distracted. Kick out by Kim Possible, but that's what you got to do. You got to pick your moments. Oh,
your moments,
gosh.
Keep your head on a swivel. That's a huge boot by Shigo.
How about keep your head on your shoulders if you're Velma? It nearly just went into the third row as kick out at 2 by one half of the tag champs.
And what you saw there was actually a pretty good strategy, too, because Kim Possible waited ringside, and as soon as somebody else got in the ring to try to break that up, she grabbed her opponent.
Backstabber by Elsa to Shigo. Daphne down the corner. I think she might have gotten hit with a super kick by Kim Possible.
There's a big punch to the head by Anna, or Elsa, getting them confused again. She goes into the cover, but it'll be a kick out.
They're sisters, but they're not identical twins. They're not like the Usos.
There's a meeting of the minds. Now both Anna and Elsa going to work on their opponents.
I don't know, what do you get when you cross a blonde and a redhead?
Also looking for another weapon. Out comes the steel chair.
Oh, look at this. Inside the ring, nobody's there. Anna, after a springboard moonsault, had to cover on Kim Possible. And like I said, you got to have your head on a swivel. Velma preserves the titles. Oh, gosh. Well, doesn't have to be pretty.
Very quickly. As long as it works. It's all legals. There's a Superman punch. Kim Possible went for the super kick, but Elsa hit one instead. Velma has to break that one up.
A little deja vu here for Kim Possible and Elsa. A triple threat kind of inside of the ring. Of course, Daphne was the representative for her team in the triple threat match last week. Velma having to do the duties right now is DDT to Elsa. Right in front of Kim Possible, who I think's a little dazed in the corner, but Anna will break it up instead.
I think there was some kendo stick usage on the outside, too. I see pieces of one all over the floor ringside.
Yeah, Daphne and Shigo, I think, were going at it with kendo sticks. I don't know who got the worst end of that exchange. And all of a sudden, well, oh gosh, I was going to say Kim Possible and Shigo were looking good, but Elsa just took them both out with a flying forearm. Cover in, kick out at 2.
Still not enough.
Super kick! Super kick by Anna to Velma in the corner. Is anybody, nobody broke it up, nobody saw it. We've got new tag team champions.
I think Shigo was nearby. I'm not too sure what was going on there, but either way, it doesn't matter. The pin was not broken up, and we've got new Disney Tag Team Champions in the women's division. It's Team Let It Go.
One team came in, the current champions. One team came in, the former champions. One team hadn't won titles yet in FWE. That has now changed. Team Let It Go are the new Women's Disney Tag Team Champions. But the challenge was issued. It was accepted. Up next, it's our broadcast colleague, RJ Bishop. He takes on Kronk. If RJ wins, Team Vicious and Delicious get a shot at the men's tag team titles next week. And that's coming up next here on FWE.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Making his way to the ring, representing Vicious and Delicious, From Tucson, Arizona, weighing in at 236 pounds,
Well, Jack, you alluded to it earlier on tonight. A couple of matchups not for titles, but definitely have stipulations involved for future events. This being one of them. Vicious and Delicious, two-time tag team champions, lost their tag team titles in a triple threat tables match against former champions in the Avengers, the alliance known as Thor and Hulk. And then the new team that was thrown into that triple threat, Cusco and Kronk. Well, here tonight, RJ Bishop has a chance to get Vicious and Delicious back into the title hunt, maybe to be three-time tag team champions, but he's got to go through pretty strong individual. Not a lot upstairs, but definitely a lot of strength brought to the table in Kronk.
Hey, sometimes those strong types are all it takes.
representing from the internet, weighing in at 204 pounds, one half of the Miz Superstars Tag Team Champions.
I don't know why, but when I think of Kronk and Cusco as a tag team together, I almost kind of think of, I don't know, like an AJ Styles and Omos type thing. You got the agility and you got the brawn.
Feels like the perfect tag team, though, honestly, if you think about it. I got no title on the line here, but RJ can get Vicious and Delicious back in the title opportunity, or in the title picture. We're able to get a win tonight.
Of course, we've been told as well, if RJ is successful tonight, then Vicious and Delicious get that tag team title match next week. But let's consider the opposite side. What if Kronk wins this matchup? Where does Vicious and Delicious go from here? You'd have to think that they'd have to potentially go, if not to the back of the line, they'd be quite a ways out of being in the #1 contendership for the tag team titles.
It's really too early to tell. I think if you're Vicious and Delicious right now, especially RJ Bishop, you just focus on this matchup.
Got to think his tag team partner Nick Gunther's backstage looking on. Not sure how much Cusco's going to be paying attention, because he's got a matchup with you here tonight, Jack, for that Wayfinder Cruiser Championship, so he might be focused on that. As here's that strength we're talking about.
For my own sake, I hope Cusco is not focused. But we'll have to see.
Kronk going up top. Big man gonna fly. Hits the elbow.
Heat-seeking elbow.
Cover in. Just enough to put RJ away, and he's going to slip out.
I gotta tell you what, that was almost it right there. But RJ with a quick kip up, and now a flying kick to the face.
And now go for the airplane head scissors takedown. Still to come later on this evening, folks. Mentioned it. Jack putting the Wayfinder Cruiser Championship on the line against Cusco. Dylan Young defending the Tri-Wizard Championship against King Candy. And of course, our main event, the rivalry that has been brewing for a month now. The FWE Commissioner has called in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to try to take down the faction known as the Family, and they meet in War Games.
There's a springboard by RJ. Feels like right now RJ's in control of this match, but one big forearm like that by Kronk puts him right back into it, and he goes into the cover. I did not just commentator jinx it there, thank goodness, but it was pretty close.
Oh, Kronk taking a little too much time showboating. Disaster kick, Enziguri there by RJ to the back of the head. And now RJ back on the offensive again. Death Valley driver.
And for another Hurricane Rana, is that going to be it?
That could be it. Referee checked to make sure that right hand was not under the ropes, and Kronk still kicks out. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. RJ might be setting up for the cheeseburger slider. That's got to be it. Lights
Surely.
out. To become the #1 contender. Oh, gosh.
Oh, my goodness.
Gosh. How is that not it?
He's trying to line something up again. He's trying to get the crowd behind him. RJ
What is he
still
looking for? Top rope. Hamburger helper. The cutter from the top. That's got to do it.
Surely
That
that's
has
it.
to be it.
Has to be.
And it is. Wow. What
What
a
an effort.
flurry of offense by RJ.
Did a fantastic job in this one. And now just like that, there you go. The question is if Vicious and Delicious don't have to worry about what's going to happen after this match because RJ Bishop victorious in this one. Vicious and Delicious, they're going to have another shot at the men's Disney Tag Team titles soon.
Well, don't bother penciling it in. Use permanent marker next week. They'll fight for the Tag Team Championships. But up next, Jack, we'll see you in a little bit as you've got some business to take care of. Facing off against Cusco, that Wayfinder Cruiser Championship on the line here tonight at Infinity War Games. Best of luck.
I'm going to have to ditch the headset for this one, so I'll see you guys in a little bit.
He'll be joining us back on commentary afterwards. Question is, will he still have the championship in hands? We'll find out in just a little bit.
The following champion versus champion contest is scheduled for one fall and is for the Global Cruiserweight Championship.
As you heard, our ring announcer Mike Rowe announces a champion versus championship match, but only one title is on the line here tonight. The Wayfinder Cruiser Championship, and want to welcome RJ Bishop here to the commentator booth. And I mean, RJ, congratulations on that victory over Kronk, but we'll talk about that a little bit more in depth here. We get to see a broadcast colleague of ours now defend the Cruiserweight Championship against this guy, Cusco. You're gonna be meeting up against this guy in a week's time.
Yeah, I'm happy that I ended up getting the dub against Brock, so that was cool.
We were shocked that the cheeseburger slider didn't put him away. You had to resort to that top rope hamburger helper, but well done to you as here comes the champion, Jack Mitchell. Of course, Jack ended up winning a triple threat match against Peter Pan and Harry Potter to have the opportunity to fight for the Cruiserweight Championship against Cusco. Made good on it, won the title, and now Cusco gets his rematch here tonight. And what do you think, RJ, and the fact that these two have already met in the ring? They kind of know each other. Does that make it a little bit more difficult, do you think, for the champion or for the challenger?
Well, it depends what type of match it is. If it's like a falls count anywhere, then it might be a little risky. But since it's just a normal 1v1, you never know what's going to happen.
Gotta wonder too what it might potentially do for maybe the psyche of somebody like Cusco if he's not able to win the title back here from Jack. Maybe give you guys, you and Nick, a little bit of a advantage going into that title match next week. At least you beating Kronk, that puts something else in the back of Cusco's mind now, realizing he's going to have to put the tag team titles on the line next week. That could maybe help Jack in this matchup as well.
Hopefully it does, yeah.
Well, you alluded to it, RJ. Just normal match here, no stipulations. We ended up seeing Cusco actually win the Cruiserweight Championship in a ladder match, defended it again in a ladder match against Carson Gum. Cruiserweight's very well known for their quickness and their high flying.
New York, weighing in at 185 Champion, Jack Mitchell.
Third title that's been put on the line so far here tonight at FW Infinity War Games. We've had a title retention with the Women's World Championships, but we've had titles change hands with the Women's Tag Team Championships. So far we're 1-1. This will be the rubber match to break the tie that we've had so far. Referee Ernest Wright displaying that Moana-inspired cruiserweight title. And we're about ready to get this one going here. Wayfinder Cruiser title hangs in the balance. Bell rings and collar and elbow tie up in the center of the ring here. And yeah, I mean, you kind of get the feeling with these two, with what we've seen in the matchups they've had. I mean, obviously we alluded to the matchups that Cusco's been in, the ladder matches, both gaining and defending the cruiserweight title. And then for Jack Mitchell, if you're going to talk about longevity, you just have to go back to that Iron Man match he had with Thanos about a month and a half ago. But this one could run pretty long here, so both of these two got to be smart in their movements and make sure that they don't overexert themselves. Look at this, right out of the gate, after a kick. Mitchell trying to defend the title there, but a kick out at one by Cusco. And now might be going for a figure four, trying to make Cusco tap out, but well, maybe a little mistake there. Cusco able to have his flailing arms underneath the bottom rope. Referee calls for the break on the submission. Oh, wow! Falcon arrow. But Cusco right up to his feet again, and now Jack to the outside. Again, champion's advantage. Cusco cannot win the title on a count out or a disqualification. Jack with a stunner. What about later on tonight here, our main event, RJ, that War Games matchup with the family versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? I mean, we were all in shock last week when we saw that was the team the FWE commissioner had pretty much decided was going to, in essence, be his vigilantes against this heel faction. What was your thoughts when you ended up hearing that theme music hit and you saw the green make its way to the ring?
It was not the team I was expecting. Out of all that are on this roster, it was not one of them.
And we have to remember, too, and we'll talk about it, obviously, when that matchup comes around. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they have the man advantage. They earned that last week. That's a nice move there. I'm not sure exactly what that kind of a kick is called, but it was effective by Jack Mitchell. As referee now going to reset the count there with Jack leaving the ring. But the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles defeating the collective team of Penguin, Joker, Santa Claus, and the Easter Bunny to gain that man advantage inside the double steel cage. Jack doing all he wants out here outside of the ring, utilizing it all as weaponry. Of course, if there's a count out, he still retains the title, but now both individuals back inside the ring. Jack up top, missile drop kick, drops Cusco. And Cusco's not been able to get in a whole heck of a lot of offense. Now Jack sling blade to retain the title. Could this be it? Cusco shoulders down, and that's gonna do it. A quick title retention by Jack Mitchell. Very little offense out of Cusco, and Mitchell will remain the Wayfinder Cruiser Champion. Well, a pretty good night for the commentary crew. RJ gets Vicious and Delicious back into the tag team title picture. Mitchell defends the Cruiserweight title. And we've got plenty more still to come, including this. It was added to the card just yesterday. The Women's Hardcore title on the line. Ariel takes on Wonder Woman, Moana, Snow White, and Susan Storm. Fatal five-way for the Women's Hardcore title is going to be up next as we continue to roll on here at FWE Infinity War Games, drawing closer to tonight's main event. Welcome back here to FWE Infinity War Games. We welcome the still Wayfinder Cruiser Champion Jack Mitchell back to the commentary table. Congratulations on the title retention there, Jack. Hard-fought victory, and you get to have that shiny belt here at the commentator's desk for a little while longer.
Looks nice, doesn't it?
It does. At least you don't gloat about it. In that other faction, one of our champions, he would always kind of show off his title belt and was like, are you kidding me? Come on.
Well, Kuzco, listen, he worked pretty hard to get that title opportunity, and I'm not gonna gloat, I'm not gonna rub it in his face, but let's just say that when there's a championship on the line for me, I'm not exactly gonna hold back. So I just did what I had to do.
Well, you don't have to gloat about it. I just checked Twitter. Kuzco sent out a tweet. Congratulations to Jack. Hard-fought victory. I would have had his number, but he threw off my groove, so there you go.
I'll shoot him a reply after the show.
Speaking of number, Susan Storm, a member of the Fantastic Four, making her debut here tonight. Opportunity to be able to win the Hardcore Championship. Another debut as well in Snow White.
As I readjust myself to the commentary position here, this is going to be a very fun one because you got the women's hardcore title on the line, fatal 5-way. It's just going to be probably even more chaos like we saw with that 6-person tornado tag team match that we saw earlier. The only difference is that was a tag team match. Obviously, there's also one less person in this matchup. So, every man is for themselves here. Every woman is for themselves here.
You know what else is interesting? We had first-time women's tag team champions not too long ago in Team Let It Go. We have an 80% chance of a woman walking out here tonight for the first time as hardcore champion. Ariel is the only one that is a hardcore champion coming in as the title defender. All other former hardcore champions are not in this matchup. All the other 4, for the very first time, could hold a singles championship.
Pretty exciting to watch. 80% chance that we've got a new champ.
Wonder Woman, a former women's champion, though it only lasted for maybe about 6 minutes. Of course, she won the women's championship against Cruella de Vil back at Sugar Rush before she was cashed in on by Elizabeth Swan. And now looking to be a double champion, if you will, here in FWE.
And representing the Islanders from Honolulu, Hawaii,
Oh, that Wayfinder Cruiser title you've got there, of course, inspired by this individual's franchise, Moana, the Wayfinder.
Honestly, I could go on and on. I could explain every natural phenomenon. The tide, the glass, the ground. Oh, that was Maui just messing around.
I've seen Moana a couple of times in the Hero of China Fighting Female Battle Royals. Was unsuccessful in those. Opportunity now on the hardcore side. And it's kind of funny because, you kind of look at the individuals we've got here so far for the challengers. You've got Susan Storm. Yeah, I could see her maybe being able to be comfortable in a hardcore match environment. Wonder Woman, absolutely, being one of the Amazons. But I don't know. Moana, Open Sea Wayfinder, Snow White, a princess. I don't know. Can these two get hardcore?
We're going to find out. You never know. These people are making their debut, so there might be some different mindsets going into this matchup. Of course, with it being a hardcore championship, everything's legal.
We talked about former women's hardcore champions, including Elizabeth Swan, who we saw earlier on tonight defend the Women's World Championship of the Galaxy. Ariel defeated Elizabeth Swan for this title and successfully defended it as well in another fatal 5-way. So she's got history, she's got experience in defending the title successfully in this type of an environment. We'll see if lightning will strike twice for the Little Mermaid. As alluded to, hardcore rules. No countouts, no disqualifications. You can use anything inside the ring, outside of the ring. The pinfall submission has to take place, though, between the ropes. Champion is obviously at a huge disadvantage in this type of a matchup.
Already a DDT, and there's a submission attempt.
It was X Factor there by Ariel to Susan Storm, and Storm answers right back with a big boot. Here comes the weaponry. I guess Snow White can get hardcore. Kendo stick in hand.
Oh, but she missed that attempt and pretty quickly dropped that stick. Now Snow White getting shoved into the turnbuckles.
Uh-oh, this isn't gonna end well. Reverse Alabama slam.
My goodness.
And
a jawbreaker by
Moana
Susan.
Bulldog. DDT from Moana to Susan Storm, the champion on the outside. Now the crowd's chanting for tables, and the champion's going to oblige them.
There we go.
Inverted atomic drop by Moana. Oh, was going for a head scissors there and didn't realize that Susan Storm was tied up with Ariel. Oh gosh!
Oh my. And now we've got a ladder being introduced. Oh, ladder right to the face of Wonder Woman.
Again, reminder everybody else, we got to cover here. Susan Storm looking to be the hardcore champ. Kick out by Ariel. In 2 weeks' time, July 10th, it's the Fairly Odd Partners Tournament. An entire night filled with a bracket tournament. Teams made up of one man, one woman. We've got some usual duos, some unusual duos, and one team at the end of the night will be the champions of the Mixed Match Challenge. It'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to join us for that one, as we got a cover in here by Moana and Snow White with the breakup.
And a big kick to the face by Ariel, trying to retain that title, but Moana now throwing her into the corner. Some action happening ringside, but we want to stay focused on what's happening between the ropes, because that's the only place where the pins and submissions will count. As there's, I don't know if you call that a DDT or what that was.
Some kind of a driver, and went for a moonsault of some kind and missed. Now Snow White mixing it up there with Wonder Woman. There's Susan Storm. I wasn't sure where she was at. She just now gets to her feet. Triple threat going on inside of the ring as Snow White with a backbreaker to the champ.
There was a trash can that was introduced, so yeah, this is just definition of a hardcore match.
Maybe a little sign of what's to come later on tonight in our main event, as here's a cover. Modified natural selection by Snow White, and I believe Moana may have broken that pinfall up. Susan Storm's got a sledgehammer. Oh, roll up!
Oh my goodness. Kick out though.
Ariel almost stole one there off of Snow White. Oh, big drop kick by Moana. Susan Storm's got a cover here on Ariel. It's absolute pandemonium now as all 5 individuals inside of the ring. Another driver there.
And that was quickly broken up.
Snow White with a DDT. Covers in. Is anybody going to notice that? Yep, the champion did.
Yep, this is all-out madness.
Moana might be thinking about that double spring arm drag.
Oh. I think she might have slightly landed on that table there. I'm not sure if that's going to have any kind of impact later on.
The table is upside down. That's a metal frame there. The legs are metal as well, so there's definitely some kind of impact if you land on it. So now all of a sudden just a little bit of a lull in the action. Everybody trying to, oh, Poison Rana!
Oh my.
And now Wonder Woman with a neck breaker.
Does Wonder Woman go for a cover here? Yes, she does, I think.
Oh, kick out.
Oh.
Whoa, nobody was going to be there. Moana almost got there in time,
man.
but if that referee's hand had come down for 3, I think we would have had a new champion. As looking for a riptide is Moana.
Lands it. Can Susan Storm get up in time to break it up? Yes, she can.
Yeah, not even a 1 count. High knee lift.
To the jaw.
And Snow White breaks it up. Everybody is a rotation here.
Right as she went into the cover, Snow White was getting back up in the ring, and she was in perfect position to break that one up. It's just going to be that kind of match.
That's
You're
what
going
you
to have
got
to
to do.
get basically everybody else out of the ring if you're going to go for a pin or a submission. Or at least incapacitated to the point where they can't break it back up.
DDT from Ariel to Wonder Woman. Susan Storm is down in the corner. Snow White is out on the floor. Moana, it's like maybe again going to go for another arm drag here on Ariel. Wonder Woman, big suplex there.
Sue Storm going right into the table.
Big back elbow right there. Almost a Judas effect by Wonder Woman. Drop kick from Moana.
Moana looking for, I thought she was going to go for a springboard, but instead she leaves the ring. Could that be a mistake, though? Because if Wonder Woman gets Snow White down here.
Snow White is down in the corner. Covers in, and that's it. To your point, big mistake there by Moana. And Wonder Woman is now a multi-time champion here in FWE. For the first time, she will hold the Hardcore Championship. I feel like Moana's going to be thinking about that one for a while. She might have had this matchup in hand. As up next, the Tri-Wizard Championship is on the line. Dylan Young defends against the #1 contender, King Candy. Last time Dylan Young defended the title, he was attacked by the members now known as the Family. He's got to have that in the back of his mind here tonight as he defends next.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall and is for the Men's World Championship.
Getting ready for our first of a double main event, if you will, here tonight. As the Men's Tri-Wizard World Championship on the line. And King Candy, the new #1 contender. We saw him in that 20-man elimination gauntlet match. He came in at the coveted entry number 20, was able to become the #1 contender, and first time that King Candy has ever been in a singles championship match. Could be a big one for him here tonight.
I'm really, really looking forward to this as we reach our final 2 matches of this PLE. Of course, you've got the world title on the line, and then you've got the War Games match coming up at the very end of it all. So this is going to be a very, very exciting finish to these events here tonight.
Question is, who's Dylan facing in this one? Is he facing King Candy, or is he facing Turbo, or maybe a little of both? Well, Dylan Young won the Men's Tri-Wizard Championship in the very early days of FWE, before it was even a weekly episodic show. Ended up winning it inside Elimination Chamber. He then would go on to defend it against the likes of Shaggy Rogers. Fabio Sparklemane was successful in both title retentions. And here tonight looks to continue what has been already a very lengthy title reign. But I talked about this before that commercial break. After he retained the title against Fabio Sparklemane at Sugar Rush, it was then when he was attacked by Cole Eastwood and Anthony McCurry, who would later find out were a part of the faction known as the Family. Now, they've got a matchup already here tonight but could they be looming around, ready to interfere in this matchup here as well? I'll explain why in just a minute as we go to our ring announcer, Mike Rowe.
From the internet, weighing in at 100 pounds, King Candyman. And his opponent from Tampa, Florida, weighing in at 220 pounds, the men's world champion, Dylan Young.
Dylan ready to defend that title. And the reason I bring up that point, Jack, is because remember the whole stipulation here of the War Games match was the demands that were made by the family. They wanted title matches. FW Commissioner says you can get them if you follow my orders, my stipulations. They have followed them. They are taking place in the War Games match. Matt McIntyre faced off against Ernie the Elf inside Hell in a Cell. Michael Norman put the Intercontinental Championship on the line in a steel cage against Hades and was able to retain. So we know that Michael Norman at some point is going to get a guaranteed Tri-Wizard Championship matchup, whether it be against King Candy or Dylan Young, depending on who wins this matchup. I wouldn't put it past the family to try and interfere in this matchup in some way, shape, or form. Whittle whoever the champion eventually is down and make the job a little bit easier for Michael whenever he gets that title opportunity.
Nothing is impossible, especially when the world title is on the line, but at the same time, War Games itself is a very, very brutal match. They're probably focused on that one as well, as you see Dylan going for the leg drop. Doesn't quite go into the cover just yet, though.
Over 6-footer from the top rope. So far here tonight, when it comes to the main singles titles, they've all been retained. Jackie retained against Cusco for the Wayfinder Cruiser title. We saw earlier on tonight Elizabeth Swan successfully defend the Women's World Championship, so we'll see if Dylan Young can do the same here on the men's side, as right on the hardest part of the ring, that apron there.
You said it, apron is the hardest part of the ring, and there's no give whatsoever. It's going to be pretty painful to the back of King Candy.
King Candy just getting shoved away there by Dylan. And, oh, great, whoa! Did he, King Candy just landed on his feet after a belly-to-belly overhead suplex.
Wonder how that's going to affect the mental of Dylan.
Keep an eye on the referee's count here, though. King Candy can't win this title on a countout. Small package suplex
King
on
Candy's
the
going to
champ.
have to get him into the ring.
Referee up at a count of 6.
Get
Referee's
inside
at
the ring,
7.
reset the count, do something.
Gets in at 8, but the champ's still out there. Dylan will retain on this countout here. Referee telling him to get inside of the ring here. Oh, and he gets in just barely. You know, credit Ernest Wright. He gave it an elongated count of 9 there to make sure there was enough time. Nobody wants to see this match end on a countout.
No, that would have been very disappointing, to say the least. So definitely credit Ernest Wright for giving him a little bit of time. He gave him that one last warning before giving that 10 count. He still gave the 10 count, though. It was just too late, so.
And now King Candy goes to work. Series of uppercuts. Uh-oh, crossface. Crossface locked in here. This is, I believe, how he got Kyle Matthews eliminated in that gauntlet match. And he'll release the hold here on Dylan Young. But we saw in that gauntlet match, King Candy very well versed in submissions. We saw the crossface, we saw the sharpshooter. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him utilize those here in this matchup. As here's a cover to get the championship from Dylan Young. And it's over just like that.
Wow. After nearly avoiding count-out disaster, King Candy is going to take the Tri-Wizard World Championship off of Dylan Young.
I'm shocked it ended that quickly. I thought we were in for a lengthy match, and it just took a crossface and a modified, almost like a modified natural selection, and King Candy is walking out of Infinity War Games as the new Tri-Wizard Champion. The lengthy streak for Dylan Young comes to an end here tonight. But up next, we've been waiting for this one. The family, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, It's inside of War Games, and it is next.
The following is a men's War Games match. The rules of the match are as follows. 2 teams will be contained in separate cages, with 1 member of each team starting the match. At regular intervals, alternating members from each team will be released to enter the match. The team with the advantage will be the first to have a member released into the match. Once all competitors have entered, War Games officially begins. The match could be won by pinfall or submission. Exiting the cage will result in a forfeit. Now, let the War Games begin!
Well, we appreciate our ring announcer Mike Rowe giving us all the ins and outs on how War Games goes down. We have been looking forward to this one. We know that the man advantage is going to go to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The question now being who's going to start for each individual team. Looks like Anthony McCurry going to start for the family.
Weighing in at 220 pounds.
I think the only mystery remaining at this point is what's the order in which these teams come out. So obviously you've got the first 2 for each team that'll make their entrance, but then you've got 3 members on each side waiting inside those shark cages that you see to the left of this camera shot. You'll see them in the background though during the matchup. I cannot wait, man. War Games is so much fun, but it's so much chaos.
And of course, in war, there's always strategery. You talked about, who's going to be coming in next for these individual teams. I'm sure each one has a game plan already in place, but they don't know on the other side who's going to be the next one coming in for the other team. We could see a lot of audibles called in this matchup, depending on who comes in as the second guy, the third guy, the fourth guy. Of course, bear in mind as well, the family going to be on a little bit of the back foot, going to have to play some defense because they know that at least 3 separate times they are going to be down a man inside this double steel cage.
Representing the Orient Express from Shangri-La, weighing in at 234 pounds.
Donatello gonna be the first participant here for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm gonna try to do my best to remember all the color association with the specific names here tonight, but we heard earlier on tonight from RJ Bishop his reaction when this was the team announced by FWE Commissioner as the Vigilantes to try and take down the family. Jack, we heard your reaction live last week in the Go Home show. Nobody expected that this was going to be the group that the family was going to face off against. You got to wonder what it did to them in terms of mentality, trying to prepare for this matchup. How do you prepare for a faction like this?
I really have no idea. Honestly, I think it's still too early to tell because the tag team match that they were in to try to earn that advantage was pretty short. And I can't imagine the family is too pleased either because that tag team match, it was out of their hands. Whether or not they were going to get the advantage was out of the family's hands. And we saw in that matchup, Joker was just a little bit too slow to try to rush into the ring to break that pinfall up.
Interesting you bring that up because I have been told that next week, regardless of who wins this War Games match, Anthony McCurry and Cole Eastwood of the family have announced they want to take on Joker and Penguin in tag team action, get a little retribution there with the fact that they're not coming into this matchup here tonight with the man advantage.
At the same time, though, one bright spot that I suppose they can look forward to is that when they have the last member come out of the cage and into this matchup, they're going to be the freshest competitor. But is it going to be too little too late to save their teammates? Because once we're just going to be seeing, if you're not familiar with how War Games works, we're just going to be seeing all kinds of all-out chaos and combat until all 8 total superstars have entered the ring. And then from that point on, first team to gain pinfall or submission wins.
Right now, if you're Donatello and Anthony, it's about survival, right? You're the Iron Man in this match for your respective team. You're trying to get that early advantage. If you're Donatello, you know that you're going to have another member coming in here in just a little bit. For Anthony, you know that you're going to be outnumbered 2-1, so you're trying to maybe take Donatello out, make it a 1v1 whenever this next Ninja Turtle comes in. Looks like it may very well be. Is that Leonardo? Anthony realizing the situation, trying to take Donatello out of the picture. Reverse GTS, that'll do it.
Nice move by Anthony there, and Leonardo, interestingly enough, chose not to bring any weapons inside the cage. You're allowed to do that before you step inside. You're allowed to search under the ring rope or the ring apron and maybe find a weapon or two, maybe a kendo stick, a table, really anything that's under there. If you can find it, you can use it as a weapon, as there's a stunner to break out of that submission attempt. Of course, that wouldn't have won the match anyway, but maybe wearing down his opponent a little bit there. But you're allowed to bring any kind of weapons into this match. Anything goes. The only thing you can't do is you can't leave the cage. If you're in, as soon as you step inside the cage, if you exit out, whether it's going over the top or going through the door, your team forfeits.
You talked about it too, until all 8 participants are in the match. You can't win war games, so you're not looking for pinfalls, you're not looking for submissions, you're looking for punishment at this point in time, and Anthony doing a great job. Outnumbered 2-1, he's got them both down, at least for the time being, and now the momentum may shift as he's about to have a teammate enter in.
Yeah, he hits a springboard to Leonardo right as the countdown is running out. There's a Superman punch off the ropes, and Leonardo missed whatever that springboard attempt was. I believe that's Michael Norman making his way to the ring.
The Intercontinental Champion. We talked about the fact, too, how there might be a little bit of an advantage for the family in the fact in the last couple of weeks, Michael Norman defended the IC title against Hades inside of a steel cage. And then last week, Matt McIntyre defeated Earn the Elf inside Hell in a Cell. So at least 50% of the family have been inside steel structures here leading up to this War Games match.
It could be familiar territory for them. They could be comfortable with all this, but everything gets ramped up a little bit when there's 2 rings that you have to work with. And there's that diamond plating too between each ring as well. That cannot feel good to land on.
It's also going to be interesting here as well, not to say that there's not unity in the family, but we've seen Anthony McCurry and Cole Eastwood team together. We've seen Cole, Anthony, and Matt all team together. But usually when they're out at ringside, Michael Norman's nowhere to be found. We saw him flanked by his team members when he defended the Intercontinental Championship back at Sugar Rush against Levi McIntyre, but Michael's kind of been the behind-the-scenes guy, it seems. He's let the rest of the faction do a lot of the dirty work inside of the ring.
Speaking of inside the ring, I was keeping my eye on what was happening to our right. You saw Anthony McCurry was on the receiving end of some brutal kicks by Leonardo. And now Raphael making his way to the ring.
Now going to be 3-on-2. Michael and Anthony going to be outnumbered here for a little bit of time. Again, no weapons being introduced. I mean, the cage itself is a weapon. I mean, you look in the center of the ring, you've got that steel plate that connects the 2 rings. That is not an easy landing if you end up making impact with that.
Now being thrown into the side of the steel cage is not fun either. So.
That was just a full-on mugging right there, 3v1. Now
oh
it looks
my
like
goodness.
Donatello's going over to Michael.
Leonardo and Raphael were landing some pretty big hits on the Anthony. There's a few more kicks. One to the face drops him.
And both members of the family are down and out.
The Ninja Turtles standing tall here early. It's all about wearing them down.
This is what that man advantage can do. Maybe a little miscommunication there. I think Leonardo may have just hit Donatello. Might have just grazed him there. Obviously, he wasn't aiming for him. I think he was aiming for Michael. Oh, but Psycho knee!
That sort of thing is bound to happen when there are so many people in this tight environment here. You don't have to stay in the cages. There's another miscommunication. Leonardo went for a springboard punch and it ended up connecting with his teammate, Rafael.
Matt McIntyre, we saw the rage that he can bring in a cage as he faced off against Ernie the Elf last week inside Hell in a Cell. He'll look to bring that in here, try and draw the numbers back even for his family faction.
He's immediately being met with knees to the face from Rafael. It seems like each Ninja Turtle, now that there's no longer, now that there's even numbers for each side, kind of pick your man and stick to him.
Donatello with an elbow to Anthony. Those two squared off to begin this War Games matchup, the first participants for their respective teams. Let's also remember this here, folks. This was a requirement for the family to participate inside of War Games to be able to fight for the championships that they demanded. This means, since they have acquiesced, they have agreed to this, that at some point in the future, Anthony McCurry, Cole Eastwood, they will have a tag team title shot. Matt McIntyre will have a United States Championship shot, and Michael Norman at some point will get a shot at the Tri-Wizard Championship. And we've seen the Tri-Wizard Championship change hands here tonight. King Candy walking out with that title belt. We know that next week Gaston may not be the United States champion for much longer. Hercules became the #1 contender here tonight, as here comes the final participant for Team Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Michelangelo, the only one that hasn't been introduced to the action yet. We'll see if he introduces any kind of weaponry to this matchup, and no, he just walks right inside. It probably won't be the most brutal War Games matchup we've seen, but it can still be a toll nonetheless. As you see just all the madness going on inside both rings. And finally, looks like we've had a member of the family connect an attack. Some kind of DDT or something, as there's a big kick.
It was the end of days, I believe, by Michael Norman to Leonardo. Anthony's got, Falcon Arrow hit there on Rafael.
Oh, and a super kick breaks that one up.
Right to the back of the neck.
Michelangelo wasting no time.
Donatello now with a mount on Michael Norman, now bringing him towards the center of the ring. I don't know what he might be going for. And again, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles standing tall. Anthony's down, Matt's down, Michael's back down. And here comes the final participant, Cole Eastwood. As soon as he enters into the ring, that's when pinfalls or submissions will be counted. War Games will officially begin.
And he's not introducing any kind of weaponry to this match either, so now he's got to make his way across. You heard our ring announcer, Mike Rome, say it's official. The War Games have begun. First team to find pinfall or submission wins. And now you can see some of the members of the family are standing back up and landing some attacks.
End of days! Michael Norm with the end of days there to Leonardo.
I'm not sure anyone's quite ready to go for the pin or submission just yet, because there's just so much going on inside that one ring.
Yeah, the two rings, a lot of times we'll see a team try and single somebody out, right? Try to get him away from his other teammates, but to your point, they're all in the same ring together, so you try and go for a pinfall or submission, there's a very good chance it's going to get broken up. Spear by Anthony!
And a big punch by Matt.
Back elbow by Cole Eastwood there with Michelangelo. Reverse GTS by Anthony. And all of a sudden, the family have kind of drawn it back even here in terms of momentum. They were down and out about 2-3 times in this match.
Big springboard, though, by Rafael.
And another spear by Anthony, this time to Michelangelo.
Now it's just back and forth.
RKO!
RKO!
Cover! Covered by Matt on Rafael. Broken up. Oh, look at this over here on the left side, though. Anthony singling out Michelangelo.
Finally, some action is spreading
Oh,
out.
he's got
to
a
the other
cover!
side. He's going for a cover. Does anyone notice? Kick out.
Ooh, that was smart. That was really smart. Everybody else was in the other ring. He could have snuck a pinfall there. Good, Anthony.
And
now
now it looks
Morris.
like some of the action's migrating to that left ring.
Yep. Hurricane there by Cole Eastwood. Cole setting up here. Oh, wow! Cole with a big move there.
Is that going to be it?
That could be it. Look at Matt. He's guarding that. He's guarding that pinfall. And the family are victorious inside of War Games.
You just can't keep them down. The family asserting their dominance. And they continue to do so inside of War Games. There were no weapons introduced into this match. No problem.
At least 3 different times it looked like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were going to take this thing. But as you said, Jack, just when you think you got them on the ropes, they come right back. Big time momentum here for the family. They're obviously, as we said, going to have title shots in the future. What an incredible PLE here at FWE Infinity War Games. Again, be sure to join us on July 10th for the Fairly Odd Partners PLE. But we'll see you guys next week as we begin the road to our next PLE here in FWE. Good night from Infinity War Games.